Welcome back to the Conveyance Desk. In episode 1, we mapped the overall transfer sequence. Today, we are zooming into one of the main gates inside that sequence, developer clearance, also called the developer NOC, and what delays it. Quick reminder, this is general educational content, not legal advice. Every transfer has variables, developer rules, financing terms, authority requirements. So use this as a guide. Then validate your own case. Not because legal advice is useless, but because the transfer itself is primarily procedural. Clearances, document alignment, authority sequencing, trustee booking, settlement mechanics. A lawyer can be valuable when something is genuinely legal, a dispute, a non-standard contract term, a complex ownership structure, cross-border enforcement issues, or a conflict between parties. But for straightforward buying and selling, paying lawyer-level fees to manage the transfer often means paying a premium for coordination. It is coordination, and it can usually be handled more efficiently by a dedicated execution operator. Now, let's talk about the gate that causes the most unexpected delays. Developer clearance. Developer clearance, in plain terms, is the developer confirming you are clear to transfer, clear on dues, clear on compliance, clear on their internal checks. And here is the point people miss. If this gate is slow, the entire deal becomes slow. Even if everyone agrees on price, even if everyone is ready, even if the buyer is waiting with funds. Here's a short real-world example. A transfer was progressing normally. Buyer and seller agreed. Documents were submitted. Everyone expected the NOC within a few days, but the developer rejected the file. Why? A small mismatch. One document included a middle name, another did I. It looked harmless, but the developer's system flagged it. The fix was not complicated, but the resubmission added days. Then the payment statement had to refresh. Then the next approval queue started. The deal did not fail because it was hard. It slowed because it was fragmented, and because the gate was not treated like a gate. The core idea: developer clearance is not a formality. It is a checkpoint, and checkpoints have rules. So let's break down what delays it, and how to keep it clean. 3. Why this step is underestimated. Developer clearance is underestimated because it sounds simple. People hear NOC and assume it's automatic. But in practice, it is a checkpoint, and checkpoints have queues, rules, and failure modes. This is also where broker bundle handling becomes risky. Not because brokers are bad, but because broker incentives are different. Brokers are primarily compensated for closing the deal. Execution requires neutrality, process ownership, and patience with admin detail. When the transfer is bundled as an add-on, the NOC step is often treated as background, until it becomes the longest delay in the entire transaction. 4. The 3 most common causes of NOC delays. Let's get practical. First, service charges and dues. Even small outstanding balances can block issuance, and verification can take time when records need to update on the relevant system. In some buildings, service charge verification runs through industry systems, including, where applicable, platforms like Moloch. If statements, balances, or owner records aren't aligned early, you get rework, and the transfer slows down. Second, mismatched documentation. Name variations across passports, amoretes, and a title deed. A hyphen, a middle name, a spelling variation. It feels minor, but it triggers rejection and resubmission. Third, developer-specific requirements, inspections, additional forms, community approvals. Each developer in each community can have its own process, so lead times vary. Some developers issue NOCs quickly, others take a week or more, longer around holidays or peak periods. 5. Why broker bundles are risky at this specific step. Here's the issue with bundle handling. When you combine brokerage and execution in one bundle, you often lose 2 things. First, neutrality. The person pushing the deal forward may downplay gates and lead times, because their job is to close. Second, procedural depth. Developer portals, service charge verification, Moloch checks, building by building rules. These are not one-size-fits-all. If the operator doesn't have this depth, the process becomes reactive instead of controlled, and the predictable outcome is frustration mid-transfer, or worse, post-transfer fixes. Because errors don't always show up immediately, They show up when you try to do the next thing. 6. What to prepare to reduce friction. If you want a clean NOC process, do this early. Title deed, passports and amirates, IDS, for all parties. Service charge statements or receipts, where relevant. Supporting documents for any name variations. And relationship proof for gifting cases, where required. And here's the simplest tip that prevents the most delays. Log into the developer portal early. Check balances. Download statements. Confirm requirements. Then request the NOC. Treat it as an early gate, not a last-minute task. 7 best practices for execution. Start early. Clear dues up front, wherever possible. Submit clean documents. Follow a fixed sequence. In this system, certainty comes from process design, not reassurance. 8. What we do at the Conveyance Desk. At the Conveyance Desk, we run this as execution infrastructure. Fixed fees, clear checklists, secure document uploads. Case ownership from start to completion. Developer clearance is managed as part of the workflow, with the right portals, the right verifications, and sequence discipline, not as a side task inside a bundle. 9. Closing. Developer clearance is a pivotal gate. Respected early, and most unexpected delays disappear. In the next episode, we will break down what a trustee appointment actually represents, and what people commonly misunderstand about it. That's all for today. This was the Conveyance Desk.